Hey guys, what's going on? Railroad Kid 1937 back here again with another video review. So like I promised, here it is. This is the other engine I got. This is a Broadway Limited Paragon 2 482 M1B. And man, is this thing absolutely amazing. I am really excited to be presenting this to you guys today. This engine is just absolutely phenomenal. There's so many great things about this thing that I actually am not going to be running it with my cell phone because I can't unlock all the features of it with the cell phone. And there's one in particular that I'm thinking about, which is going to be a surprise to you guys. As you watch the video, you'll see it. It's going to be really freaking awesome. Anyway, in the previous video, I told you that I mentioned that I went to the train show, and I was a little disappointed, but I didn't really tell you why. And the story is actually related to this engine. The reason why I was disappointed was because that on the part of the country that I live, the West Coast, especially the inland Northwest, they don't have a lot of the railroads that I like. I particularly like Eastern railroads and a lot of Southern railroads. Like as in the previous video, I have a Santa Fe set of Santa Fe Alco PAs. I prefer Santa Fe. I also like a lot of Eastern railroads, like the Pennsylvania. I also love the New York Central. Baltimore and Ohio is nice. Just a lot of those kind of railroads. Really like, Norfolk and Western, really awesome railroad. Love the Norfolk and Western as well. But these guys up here where I live, they have a lot of Spokane, Portland, and Seattle. They have Great Northern. I'm not really, to be quite honest, even though I live in Great Northern Territory, I'm not a big fan of the Great Northern. They didn't do anything spectacular. They didn't have really any spectacular locomotives that they came out with, like Union Pacific. They came out with the Big Boy, the Challenger, all that kind of stuff. They didn't come out with anything unique. And I like railroads that have engines that have unique looks, and they have just groundbreaking, revolutionary type locomotives. The reason why I got this locomotive right here is because it fits under that category. It just looks different. And that's why one of the reasons why I like the Pennsylvania Railroad is because their engines had a very unique look to them. If you look at the smoke box, more or less in this area right here, the engines have like a nice, kind of like a baby face kind of thing going on to them, like a really fat boiler. And I really, really do like that look, especially with the really long fat tender. I mean, the tender on this thing, let's go over here. This sucker is about as long as the engine itself. I mean, that thing is really freaking long. But I just absolutely love the look of this sucker. This thing is phenomenal. And the sound quality, it's up there with MTH. I'm telling you guys right now. I remember in the previous video I was talking about how Broadway Limited was number 2. I'm not entirely sure anymore. I mean, now that I actually own a Paragon 2 locomotive, I'm having second thoughts on Broadway Limited as far as the quality of their products. I had a Broadway Limited, their first run of locomotives. I had a, what was it? I did a review of it, the New York Central Hudson. Excuse me. Did the New York Central Hudson, and that was just a standard QSI. It had a QSI decoder. It had all the really immaculate detail, but it's just the sound quality is not there, and it's impossible to get the chuff rate synced to the way I like it. And for anybody who's been watching my videos for a long time, or the guys at the train club who know me that are probably watching this right now, you guys know I am just meticulous, and it has to be precise when it comes to my chuff rates. It has to be 4 chuffs per revolution, no exceptions, no ands, no ifs, nor buts. If the engine can't do it, it's got to go. Plain and simple. That's why that's why I don't have the Big Boy anymore, because the Big Boy's chuff rate was way off. And with QSI decoders, and this is why I don't like QSI, whether it's the Revolution, whether it's the Titan, whatever. You can't, when the engine gets up to speed, the chuffing gets way out of sync, and I honestly do not like the QSI decoders. But whatever decoders Broadway Limited is using now, I think they make their own. These suckers are really sweet, because I took this engine out of the box, I put it on the track, and I ran it up to speed, a nice speed, and it stayed at 4 chuffs per revolution. And I'm satisfied. I didn't have to reprogram anything. The Bachmann Spectrums, I normally have to reprogram them to 4 chuffs, but that's no problem because the majority of the time I can get them down to 4 chuffs. The only one I've ever had a problem with was my tin wheeler, my Bachmann tin wheeler, which I have yet to do a review of, and I don't think I've actually ever told you guys that I got a Bachmann tin wheeler, but yes, I have a Bachmann tin wheeler. But anyway, let's get back to this engine. Before we get into the sounds, this thing just has some immaculate detail, and we just need to go over that real quick. Now, I know my lighting situation is not the best, however, I hope that it's good enough to where you can see some of this detail that's going on. I like this little bar that comes across here from the cab all the way to the smoke box over here. That looks really nice. There's a lot of pipe detailing on here as well. Gosh, it's really dark in here. There are also, you can see there's obviously the bell, you got the whistle back there, a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of molded in detail, really not a lot of separately applied detail, but for what they've done with this engine, you can just see that this thing is gorgeous. I just love, this is what I love about the steam locomotives. It's just, you look at like the side rods and things like that, and when you see them moving, it's just, just something about that gets me. All the moving parts on the outside, which is why I've always loved steam locomotives. You've got some piping detail here. It's really hard to pick up. To be quite honest, you guys, I'm really ignorant as far as my technical terms for a lot of these details, and I really wish I knew more, but I don't. Let's talk about this one thing I really wish Broadway Limited had done, and this is where MTH, they get a notch up, in my opinion. This is what makes the MTH locomotives better, is that all their lights light up. If this were an MTH locomotive, these marker lights right here would light up. This locomotive also does not have any rear marker lights or anything on it. It has a doghouse, which is pretty freaking sweet, but it doesn't have any lights or anything back here, so when you go in reverse, nothing lights up, which is unfortunate. I really like the paint scheme. Let's look at the coal for a minute. Whoop, went a little bit over. The coal looks really nice. I really like that. I don't know if this is a real coal load or not. I don't think so. I think in the MTH locomotives they have a real coal load, but that's cool. All the rivet detail here, the Pennsylvania sign. And then there's this. This is what I really like. I don't know what this is. I know the Pennsylvania, on the diesel locomotives, they had things that would look just like this. They were antennae that they had on top of the locomotives to pick up radio waves so the engineer could talk to the dispatcher. If I've done my research correctly, that's what they were used for. But this, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what that was used for. But all I know is it's there. It looks really good. And it makes this engine unique and just makes it pop. I also like the color scheme. Just, the dark, more of like a burgundy, more of like, not really a red, but it's more like a burgundy color. But just, you have a splash of that on top of the cab and on the back of the tender. It looks real nice. And just this engine just looks really unique. And there's that, let's get a little bit of a close-up. But there's that baby face look I was telling you guys about. Just real fat, chubby kind of boiler. And it looks a little monstrous at times, it's I can imagine, like, if I were to see this thing in real life, if I were a little kid, this would be very intimidating to me. But yeah, you guys, this is just the gist of it right here. Let's get a nice little look around. Let's see. But yeah, let's look at some sound, shall we? Let's fire this bad boy up. Now there's one thing that puts this engine way, or I should say miles ahead of the MTH, which is the whistle. If you listen, if I blow the whistle, right? Listen to this. That little part right there at the end, I didn't do that. That's what'll happen if you just blow the whistle. If you hit the whistle button for a certain amount of time, that it'll do that little quilling feature for you by itself. But there's something else you can do. But before I get into that feature, I want to talk about the other two whistles that this engine has. What you're gonna do is you're obviously gonna have to reprogram the CVs. So you're gonna go to CV224. The engine is automatically set to a default of 0. Okay, that CV224 is set to a default of 0. You're gonna enter value number 1. Okay, this is my favorite whistle, to be quite honest. Okay, it makes a little sound when you've reprogrammed it successfully. I just like that little burst at the end. It's like a little perky burst. But I just, the whistle, I just love that though. It's just too freaking awesome. The one I don't like though that they put on here is this one. Let me just go 224, value, what would it be, number 2. Okay. Don't really care for the Banshee whistle. I'm not going to even blow it again just because it's so horrible. But this is one thing that I really love about the Broadway Limited steam locomotive, that no other, you can't do this with any other HO scale locomotive in DCC. MTH will allow you to do this with their DCS system, but you can't do it with a normal DCC system like the NCE Power Cab that I'm using right now. So let me go ahead and show you this. This is the coolest freaking thing ever. You can quill the whistle. Now, the first time I did that, I had to go run around and tell my mom and everybody else in the house and show them that, because that's just too, it's just too cool. It sets this engine apart from every other engine that I own, just for the simple fact that you can quill the whistle. Now, in order to do that, you have to do some reprogramming on the NCE Power Cab itself and not on the engine. You can't program this in the CVs of the locomotive. And one of these days I will probably make a video on how to do that, but if you don't feel like waiting that long, you can go to the Broadway Limited site, or you can just look at your instruction manual. It tells you how to do it in the instruction manual, and it's really, really simple. But this just... it takes some getting used to. Like, I'm not perfect with it yet, but I'm working on it. But that's just amazing, you guys. And I love that. This just makes it probably my most favorite steam locomotive that I own right now. Oh, and it also does smoke as well. I put in a few drops of the MTH smoke that came with my PAs, and it smokes okay. I've seen other guys on YouTube, theirs smoke really well, but mine doesn't. It's not smoking that great. I'll turn it on for a little bit, and hopefully you guys will be able to see some of it, but I think it might be because of the smoke that I'm using, or maybe I just didn't put enough drops in, but it doesn't shoot out the top. It just sifts around the smokestack. And I don't know if that's a problem with the smoke unit itself, but I didn't buy this for the smoke unit. I bought it for the quillable whistle. Really. Too cool. Too cool. See if we can get in and zoom in on that smoke a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see it. Yeah, when you idle, it doesn't really smoke all that much. When it's moving, it does a pretty decent job. Let's go select the other whistle again, and we'll see what that one sounds like when you quill it. 224, value 0. It's just miles and miles away from any other steam locomotive that I own. Beautiful, just a beautiful engine. Now, honestly, this thing hasn't been able to get a good run yet. My layout in the basement is still, it's on the floor again, and I've bought some more track, and I bought so much that the layout's so big that I'm having electrical issues. I need a bus line because the one little booster that I have for my power cap, or the one little circuit board that I have, is not enough to power the entire layout. It's a double track main line, and it's just not enough. Especially for the types of engines that I run, can't do it without a bus. So something I gotta work on. Man, I'm trying to smoke off here. Awesome, you guys. And there's a bunch of other features on here that I could get into, but I think that people who are thinking about buying this engine, it's more fun if you go and you look at it yourself and just experiment and play around with it. But I had to show you the quillable whistle feature. I just thought that was the coolest thing about this engine, and it just sets it so far apart from the competition, in my personal opinion. Just really awesome. So, would I suggest buying this locomotive? I don't see why not. It is a fabulous runner. From the little bit of time that I have actually ran the locomotive, it does run very nice. The chuff rate, if you guys are meticulous and just chuff rate freaks like I am, you won't have a problem with this engine. Quillable whistle, that is just amazing. And it's not just for, you can do it with more than just the NCE power cab. If you have Digitracks, you can do it with Digitracks. You can't do it with the cell phones. You can't quill the whistle if you're running on your cell phones. I wish that were possible, but unfortunately it's not. But with the DCC system itself, that's more than enough for me. This, I guess, is just a reason for me to go. That might be a reason for me to go wireless with the NCE power cab and have a physical wireless controller. But at this point in time, I think with what I have, it's sufficient. But the quillable whistle is just something about that just really turns me on. And it makes this engine so unique. And I like the two whistles that I showed you. The first one and the second one, those are my two favorite. That Banshee whistle, I wouldn't waste my time. Personally, I wouldn't waste my time with that whistle. It's too ear splitting, and I can't stand it at all. But no, for the whistles that I showed you guys, really awesome, really sweet. And the reason why I like the other one, not the one that I concluded with, but the one that I had before that, the reason why I like that one so much is because of that perky little burst at the end that you get when you hold the whistle button down for a long time. I really like that. It just sounds really nice to me. And to me, I know I didn't really show it off that much, but you can actually quill that whistle a lot better than you can the first one that I showed you. Anyway, guys, that's the review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this has been informative. This engine is running for about, I'd say, in the $300 range right at the moment. You can go on eBay. I bought mine for about an even $300. Either give or take $300, $320, If you're really crazy, you can get them for $350, but I don't see the point when, you know, you can get them for way less than that. Anyway, Broadway Limited, awesome job. If anyone from Broadway Limited is watching this, you guys made a really awesome locomotive, and I plan on buying at least 3 or 4 more Paragon 2 steam locomotives. I want a Paragon 2 Hudson. That's what I'm looking for right now. That's the other reason why I want to keep the whistle to the second one that I showed you, because I feel that the first whistle fits a Hudson more, and that the second whistle fits the steam locomotive a lot better. And that's another thing I like, when companies, they'll give you more than one whistle to choose from. You get to personalize your steam locomotive, and that's always a great feature as well, is to personalize your locomotive and make it better, just to make it fit you and your personality, whatever you like to do with your layout. Hey guys, I'm rambling on. This is Railroad Kid 1937. I'm signing out saying peace, God bless, thanks for watching, and man, you just can't get any better than that quillable whistle. I'll catch you guys later. See ya.